You're pitching to management to get resources and support for your idea or project. But what do they really want to know? How much detail should you show? How long should you pitch? And how do you deal with difficult questions? It's hard to know. And what we usually do is throw as much detail at them as possible to show we've done our homework. But here's the thing. What they actually want is something very different. You're in for a big surprise. If we haven't met, I'm David Beckett, pitch coach, and I've trained thousands of people across over 150 industries to pitch successfully to management, as well as to customers, investors, and in competitions. I've also asked hundreds of people in management positions who get pitched to every day what they want to see in a pitch. Follow the steps I'll share in this video, and you'll get the resources, support, and the sponsorship that you need to make your projects and ideas a success. I've broken this into 3 parts. First, which topics should you talk about? Second, how much detail should you go into? And third, how long should you pitch? And at the end, I'll share a link to a separate video about answering those difficult questions. If you just want to get straight to the Q&A tips, click up here right now. Okay, part 1. Which topics should you talk about? Of course, every project or idea has different elements and specific parts, but here's what I've been told by management. Everyone goes into all the details of what they're doing, and very few tell me why they're doing it, and that's really what I'm interested in. So while you may be tempted to do this, here's the agenda, the background to the project, our research, our first steps. The real question on their mind is this: what problem are you solving? And ideally, you put a number on that problem. For example, if you say process X is taking a lot of time, it's not at all compelling. But quantifying the problem makes it real, makes it more convincing, and it strengthens your credibility. Instead, you could say, process X takes 17 people at least 2 hours per week, and that's costing the company over 1,800 hours per year. Now, what will happen if you present this in the first 30 seconds of your pitch? Clear. It's going to get a lot more attention than the classic 9 bullet point agenda slide. Why? Because you're pitching about what they care about. And putting a number on it is way more powerful than it takes a lot of time. That means the first step in any successful pitch is to think about the people that you're pitching to. What are their goals? What problems are they facing? What KPIs are they measured by? What strategic ambitions are on their mind? Then look at your proposition and think about what problem it's solving and how it's helping them to reach their goals. And see if you can quantify it. If you don't have exact numbers, give a logical bandwidth. For example, we estimate that this process is costing the company up to 35 hours per week. This way, you've seriously got their attention, and they want to know what you're going to do about it. Okay, so we've got the problem clear. This is the most important part of any pitch. Heard of Simon Sinek? Start with why. Well, the why of your proposal is the problem that you solve. Get that clear, and they're ready for your solution. The other big elements to talk about are what we propose to do, how much things will improve, a basic timeline with key milestones, and what we need to make it happen. So what should you say about each of these? That's related to the second part of this video. 2, how much detail should you go into? Okay, here's the surprise. We think if I don't show all the details of the complete project, they will think I haven't done my homework. But the reality of how they think, the people who are receiving the pitch, is this: I'm busy. I don't have time for all the details. I just want to know what you're solving, what you propose to make it better, how much better will it be, how long will it take, and what do you need to make it happen? And that's it. Just answer this, and you're way more likely to get the resources you need. Easy, right? Okay. No, not so easy. So let me break it down for you. There are 2 things in this statement we need to take really seriously. First, I'm busy. I don't have time for all the details. That means they don't want every detail, not at the first stage. They will ask about the things that they're interested in when they come to the Q&A. Now, this is the part that throws most professionals. They are convinced that the details are what convinces. But think for a moment. How many things do you think that the bosses have on their minds right now? Yeah, that's it. Loads. And how much time do they have? Yes, same as everybody else. They are busy and they just don't have time. So give them the headlines, the key messages, and add a couple of phrases like this. If you want more details on this, we can cover it in the Q&A. Or we have more detailed information, just ask in the Q&A. This way you make clear, I have covered the topic in depth, but I'm respecting your time. The second thing to take seriously is what they want to know. Let's take it piece by piece. The first point, what you're solving, well, that's clear. We've already covered that. So we move on to the second point, what you propose to make it better. Now let's give them the whole 20-minute story about the complete project because, hang on a minute. They said I'm busy, no details, right? Instead, you give them the main elements of the proposal. What will you do first? What next? What else? 3 to 5 points. Then we get to the best part. How much better will it be? Now we can use that first number, 35 hours per week, 1,800 hours per year, and tell them the upside. As a result of our proposal, we plan to reduce the time needed for Process X to less than 10 hours per week. That's a 70% reduction. Hooray! Who wouldn't want such an improvement? They're hooked by now, but they'll want to know how long will the improvement take. Now is a moment to give them a timeline, but hold on. Don't roll out the multifaceted Excel on speed project plan. Just give them a simple timeline with 3 to 5 easy to understand milestones. Now we come to the ask. What do you need to make it happen? And there is an art to this when pitching to management. You see, if you ask for a big amount of money, time, and people, they won't be able to say yes on the spot. Why? Because there are limits to what they can sign off without consultation. And anything that delays or complicates, that's bad for your project. Instead, break it down into at least 2 stages. For example, over the next 3 months, we need a small budget of 20K and 3 people to invest 10 hours per week. That will enable us to test X, Y, and Z. In phase 2, we'll need more investment, but the first phase will give us first results, and then we can report back. Pitch like this, and you'll be offering a test period for a minimal investment and a chance to prove your thesis. And you'll be within amounts that they can sign off straight away. That will massively increase your chances of a yes. One more reason why this works? It's because once they've invested even a small amount of resources, research shows that the chances of further investment multiply up. Get them to commit once on a smaller level and you have a much bigger chance of future bigger commitment. But how long will all this take? That takes me to the third part of the story. How long should you pitch? So let's say you've been given a 30-minute slot. Here's how we often plan it. 20 minutes presentation and 10 minutes Q&A. After that, we link arms, walk off into the sunset, project funded. Okay, here's the reality. The first 3 minutes are lost to tech, plugging into the screen, or if it's online Zoom and Teams updates, 30 minutes is 27 at best. Then that 20-minute presentation, let's face it, that becomes 25 at least. Hey, 84% of presentations overrun their time. And you can do the math. There's not even time for a proper Q&A, let alone discussions of next steps. So how should we plan? Here goes. First, 3 minutes of tech is gone. Okay. Here's the important thing. Plan a pitch of a maximum of 5 minutes and then ask them the magic question. At the beginning of the meeting, tell them, I'm going to give you a short pitch of 5 minutes to share the highlights of what we're solving, what improvements we'll bring, and a short timeline of the project. Then I'd love to answer all your questions. So why does this work? Simple. It taps into their feelings of, I'm busy, I've got no time. You're telling them, I've simplified it for you, and we can discuss the important things on your mind later. And one more critical thing, stick to the 5 minutes. That's around 40 to 45 sentences. Don't run over. Just give them exactly the headlines that we've talked about. Then you ask them the magic question. What else would you like to know? Would you like more info on the problem we're solving, or on the timeline, or about the team behind the project? What's on your mind? Then they'll tell you. And you're in a conversation instead of a broadcast of potentially unneeded details. This conversation will focus on the topics that they want covered. They also get to know you better in a conversation than in a longer presentation. All of this increases your chances of getting a yes to the resources that you're asking for. And what's one more crucial thing not to forget? It's the next steps. Keep an eye on the time. And when you're in the last 5 minutes, either ask for a go or for a specific next step, such as a follow-up meeting on a particular date. You don't want them to leave the meeting, see those 13 emails that have piled up, and poof, your proposal disappears from their mind. Make sure that you have a concrete next step written down so that you can email that decision within a few minutes of the meeting. So there you have it. Focus on the problem you're solving, how much better you make it, keep the pitch short, and ask the magic question. But how do you deal with those difficult questions that are posed to you? Well, watch this video and you'll be ready for anything. Let me know any tips that you have for pitching to management in the comments, and good luck with getting the resources that you need to make your ideas and projects reality. Contact me if your team needs a workshop on this.